Right, well this lovely Dodge, this 1949 Dodge, is going to be heading off to Ibiza, the island of Ibiza, in a few weeks. And I just wanted to note a few things for the new owner. Now, here we have a 6-volt battery, and this battery is fairly new, but because I hadn't been using the car for a lot, it had gone flat. Now, I charged it up and the car started fine, and I ran it for a bit, and then I left it on charge again over the New Year period, just simply to try and get the battery really topped up. So what we'll do now is I think we'll disconnect everything, unplug the power, get rid of the extension. Right, and we'll take the clips off the battery. And this is a 6-volt battery charger. Screw these back down. I'd left them with some air to get into them while it was charging. Okay, so now we'll see if this car starts. And hopefully we've got a fully charged battery. So we've got the, now here there are two buttons. This one here is actually redundant and can be taken out. It was the original water pump push that I put in to squirt water onto the windscreen. I've since we fitted an electric pump. This was before we had the electric pump, because we tried to get, we couldn't find at the time, a 6-volt electric pump, but I have found one since, but before that we used this thing. So that little pressure pump there, that can be got rid of. Now behind it is another lever, and that is the choke. So we pull the choke out and pump the car. Now this is a mechanical pump that works off the engine, so the fuel pump, that is. So where the carburetor drains back from not being used, it has to pump fuel up mechanically, so it does tend to churn over a bit, and it's only 6-volt, of course. There's firing there. Right, that's started up, so we get this choke and go back in right away. Oh. So we can see here that the engine is charging. Whoops. It's quite cold at the moment, and I've got the choke in actually. I think I will have to pull it out a bit, I think, just to get this going. No? Cold and damp. It's better. This car would be a lot happier in Ibiza, I think. It's been sitting here and in this lovely damp, we've had some really damp weather the last few days actually. As soon as this warms up in a minute, it'll just tick over lovely. The choke's in now actually. see that the battery is has got a lot of charge in it, because now the charging rate's dropping right down. That's ticking over at the moment. Now, one of the things that is very important here is that this is a positive earth car. So the positive is going to earth and the negative is going to the electrics. So when I charge the car, I put the positive lead to the negative and the negative to the positive from the charger. This water, by the way, is that there was a lot of rain last night, and I got a leak here in the roof. It's just dropped down on top of the car and it's come on the battery a bit. And this car will be much happier in Ibiza. So now we're ticking over quite nicely. And I'll just warm up gradually, because this large engine does take a few minutes to warm up. So while the car is warming up, there's something that's worth mentioning, and that is that I found some keys, and I put them here for safety. There is a second set of keys for this car, but these are some extra keys I found, and I wondered what they were for. Let's see if I got them here. Yep. And I think both of them, actually, they are keys for the boot. Right, so this is the boot. Now, obviously, on this car, you turn the handle and lift it up, and when you put it down, you down, and you turn the handle again, and you don't drop it and slam it as some people do. Now these keys here, I think they both fit the boot. Which way around do they go? That way. Yeah, there we go. So that locks the boot. It's now locked. I'll see if the other one does, because I think there's two keys for everything here. Yeah, that's the same. So, right, that's open. So there's two keys for the boot, and for safety's sake, I will put them into the ashtray. And don't forget they're there. Okay. Just having a last look here at the engine. So as I say, we've got the positive goes to the earth, so don't forget that, because that is a very important factor of this car. That's the oil filler, so that's where the oil goes, and the dipstick is down here. Just down in there is the dipstick, and obviously radiator. That is the washer, and there built into there is a 6-volt pump. Actually, that unit, it comes from a Volkswagen. It's an old, it was new stock, and it came from a Volkswagen camper. But being a 6-volt motor in there, it works now off the car, and I'll show you the switch in a minute. So we'll put the bonnet down. Right, so we'll restart the car, and this is just a simple key. It's warmed up a little bit. Okay, now just to recap on this washer, the old washer knob, which I say is redundant, which was a pull, the new one is a lever that's over here, and I'll just have a look at it here, see if we can get down and have a look. It's this one here. So that lever there, and the reason, oops, a little bit of water came up. The reason it's not coming up actually is there's no water in the reservoir. So the reservoir needs filling up. But that is the washers. Now, the wipers are this one here, and they're vacuum operated. Obviously, there's no speed variation, but if you've never used vacuum wipers, you'll soon discover the fun and games you have with them. Right, so the engine's running. They won't work, obviously, when the engine is not running. When the engine's running, you turn them on, and they keep working. As you put your foot down on the throttle and the engine needs more vacuum, they slow, then they start again. So they do vary according to the amount of vacuum that the engine's taking from it. I only say that in case you're not aware of it, but they work fine, and they are original, which is fairly unique, and they do work well. And then you turn them off, and they do return to their home position, as it were. Now, this knob at the end here, they're the lights. So it's got two positions. One is the side lights, and then the next position is headlights. That's it. So you either got the side lights on or the headlights on. And when you have the headlights on, you go between dipped and main by the button on the floor, which is under the carpet somewhere. That's it. So that'll be a main beam, and there should be a light on in the dash, which there is, I think. And then it goes to dipped. So we'll turn the lights off. Right, this knob here controls a number of things, very high tech. First of all, if you turn it once, it turns on the interior light, which is in the footwell of the passengers there. That light also comes on when the passenger door opens. It does not come on when the driver's door opens. That is not a fault, it is just the way they did the cars. Most of them were in those days. The passenger light came, when the passenger door was open, the courtesy light came on, but it didn't come on when the driver door was open, or any other door. Right, so then the next position, you turn it the other way, and it works a rheostat for the lights in the dash, which you can't see in the daytime. So it's off in the middle position here. There's a little lever. When that's facing down, turn it to that side, it turns the lights on. There's another light over here. I didn't realize that. There is actually a light, because I put a new bulb in it. Yeah, there's a light here. So there's two lights, interior lights underneath here. And then that side works the rheostat. So we've got the main lights, interior dash light, rheostat. And that is the wipers. And then the other button is the cigarette lighter, which I believe works. So we'll leave that on for a second, see if it pops out. Choke, and then the washer here, button over here. So that's where it stands. Yep, there we are, look, that works. So the original 6-volt cigarette lighter is working fine. The heater control fundamentally is what it says on here, and these old controls were just basically on or off. You had hot air or you didn't. This button here, this lever or this button, that's the blower. You've got 2-speed, you can probably hear it. So that's the second speed, the most powerful one, and then it's got a slightly less powerful speed, and then it turns off. This decides whether the air is going only in the cockpit at your feet or coming out to the window. And there is some air that will come out if you put the fan on. There is some air that will come out here. I can feel it actually. It's quite powerful actually for a car of this age. So we've got air coming out here to demist the window. That works fine. It may not be as good as a modern car, but it works as well as it did when this car was new, I suspect. So we turn that off, we'll push the air flow back to the footwell. The radio, as I say, needs some attention, so we'll leave that because at the moment that doesn't seem to be working. This lever here is the release for the bonnet. This silver lever that you just pull. Let's have a look. This one here, you just pull that to release the bonnet, and then you've got your normal lever that you search for underneath the bonnet. Handbrake is here. Off, on, off, on. So that's the handbrake. Then over here we've got the ashtray, of course, and the glove compartment. And the glove compartment is lockable. And I think with one of the keys that does the boot. I think the boot key does that and that. Clock, which is electric. On here we've got various dials, which are self-explanatory, and they are all working. The only one that's a bit iffy, of course, is the fuel gauge, which, frankly, it's difficult to. They're not very accurate. Let's put it that way. There's a float in the tank, and the sender. We did repair the sender, and that is working. If you fill this up with fuel, it will go round and show that it's full, but it seems to drop, obviously, from full to empty very quickly. Now, to drive the car, we've got a horn, by the way. That's good. That works well. A lot of these old horns don't work anymore because there's a ring, a connector ring at the bottom of the column, and I have a lot of problem with them, but this one works really well. And of course you push it anywhere in the ring. The indicators, which are on the other side here, were added because they didn't come with the car, so this is aftermarket. And you can see the light flashing. So that's your indicators, and they work. And then you've got four hazard lights, so if you pull that out, you've now got hazard lights. You can see the battery there going. And the way to cancel them are to just push the lever down. That cancels the hazards. So, and we've got an interior light, which is here. Put that on, and that's the light on, light off, light on, light off. So that works fine. Now, to drive the car, the column is an H system. So its default position against the spring is third and fourth. So to get reverse and first, you need to pull it towards you. So you put the clutch in to change gear, clutch goes in, pull it towards you, and oops, up into reverse. So we're now in gear, foot on the handbrake, on the brake, sorry, handbrake off, let the clutch out, and we're in gear. Now, because this has got fluid drive, I can take my foot off the brake and it won't stall. So I'm just using the throttle now as if it was an automatic to go backwards. And when I stop, I just put my foot on the brake and stop. Now the car is in gear, there's no clutch engaged, and it's not stalling. That's because we've got a fluid drive, which is like a torque converter, but without the conversion bit. So we'll put the clutch in to put this back into neutral. We're now in neutral, and we'll put it into a drive to go forward. Now we have got, if you pull it towards you, put the clutch in and go down, you're in first. But you really do not need first. First is a gear that you would only use if you were towing something from a start, or maybe starting on a very steep hill. Because in normal driving, you only need second and third, which are the two gears that you get when you've got the default position. So we're in neutral, clutch in, up into second, clutch out, we're in gear, we're in second, and that will pull away, no problem, just nice. And you can drive up to maybe 20 miles an hour in that's all you need to drive, if that, in second, because once you're rolling you go straight into top, and the car drives well in top. In fact, it will pull away quite easily in top, but not quickly. So we're now in top gear. That's just pulling away gently on the grass. So when we stop, no clutch, I've just stopped and I'm in top gear. But to go backwards, I need to push the clutch in, pull it up into reverse, clutch out, and then we can go backwards. Second gear. I'm just pulling away very gently because this is wet grass. But in normal driving conditions you would just really drive in second and top. Right, so handbrake on, and that is really all there is to it. A few minor little things, I suppose. These quarter lights, if you're not familiar with them, obviously they're lockable by turning this nut. That will actually stop this being opened, and then you unwind it a little bit. Actually, you have to gauge how far. Then you push that in and you turn it and it opens. So you just push it, turn it to open, or you wind it tight to lock it. Window winders. Interesting thing about this car is that when they launched this car, one of the features of the car was that the winder mechanism, the windows went up in about 3 winds. 1 or 2 winds actually, whereas the previous model, which I've got over there, my other car, it took about 5 to get it up. You were winding and cranking forever, but this one, they said this was amazing, this car, because you only have to wind the window a few times to get it up and down, and it is very good actually. Works perfectly. Okay, just another minor point really, on these cars, that this heater here, which is down here somewhere, here we are, a bit more compact actually, it's up in there, and that's the blower coming, the actual blower comes down there. It's a big improvement on my 1947 Dodge, which is over there. Now this car, unlike a lot of them actually, this is taking in fresh air from outside, heating it and bringing it in, whereas a number of them had a cheaper system, which is what my other car has, where it just recirculated the air from in the cabin, so it was just sucking it in from the cabin, heating it and blowing it back out again, basically just like a giant, or just like a hot air heater that you'd buy. But this one actually brings cold air from inside. Now the difference with that is that on the other one, which it recirculates, obviously cold weather, you're driving along without the windows open, and you could start falling asleep. Whereas this car, of course, you are getting fresh air coming into the car. So when the heater's on, you can leave the windows shut, and you are bringing in fresh air that's being heated. Not that that really matters in Ibiza, because hopefully you won't be getting that sort of cold weather. There, yes, I just realized another thing that we did. Now here is a power outlet, and this is a 6-volt power outlet. So it is just a power outlet coming straight off of the battery. I think it's live all the time, and it is only 6 volt, but that might not sound a lot, but actually it will power at least, I think, a sat-nav, and it will power MP3 player or something like that. But it is only 6 volt, because that's all the battery is. Obviously if somebody was to put an inverter behind it in line, you could jump it up to 12 volt. But that's that. There's not a lot else in this car, to be honest. The locks work, and how they work, you lock the back doors by pushing these buttons down so that they're locked, and then you lock the front doors by the key, or alternatively the passenger door can be locked like that. So that's actually locked the door now from the outside, and of course it can be opened just by pulling it the other way. So you can lock it by like that, and then when you get out you just lock. So sorry, start again. If you're just in the car as the driver and you want to lock the car when you get out, you can just push the two buttons down, that one and that one, lock that one like that, and then as you get out you can lock the driver's door with the key. The key actually that's in the ignition fits it, and that will lock the door here, and the locks do work well. There's the lock, and the spring is still working. So there's not a lot else to say really, because there's not a very complicated car. There's obviously no lock on the fuel cap, and that is it. Think about the lights. The stop lights originally only worked here. That's the way the car was designed, and these were only side lights. But recently I converted these to stop lights as well as side lights. So we've got stop lights here, here, and in the center. So it makes it a lot safer. And the indicators are these here. So the boot, you turn it and open it up. Spare wheel and jack is here, which has never been used, from my knowledge anyway. This is a blank for the radio, and the reason I got it is because when I bought the car it did not have a radio in it, and I actually bought the radio that's in it, and this was the blank that was on it, because when the car was originally ordered by its original buyer, he didn't have a radio and he didn't have indicators. They were options at that time. He had a heater, which was also an option, but thankfully he had a heater fitted. But I bought a radio which was working fine up until recently. So that's the original blank that was with the car. These are a couple of 4 bits, I think. Now they're extra trim that go along the side of the car. These are obviously the alternative. They're rear lights. They're actually in quite nice condition when they're cleaned up. They're actually a bit better than what's on there. There's very little pitting on them. There's a spare rear light system. Little clips just came off of that. Don't know what that is. I'll leave that there. Anyway, that's a spare one I bought, just in case there was any damage. That's a spare cab, which is self-explanatory, and that's brand new, and there's a coil as well. So we'll leave those there. 2 useful items that you may need. And there's the glass ones that were the blue spot ones that I've told you about before. They might as well go with the car because they came with this one. Now in here, there's a lot of invoices here. More invoices, work that's been done on the car. Lots of information. And there's a lot of workshop manuals here. Various information about how to repair various things. That's all about the fluid drive. Lots of little bits and pieces with the car that I'd bought over the years. Lots of information. Lots of invoices. There's a collection here of photographs that were taken when I first saw the car, when I went to buy it. That's all in there. They're the original pictures of the car as it was when it just arrived in the UK from the States. There is the second set of keys for the car, and more information there. So there's quite a bit of stuff that's interesting about the car that you can spend a few hours looking through. As I say, there's quite a lot in there actually, little booklets actually in there. There's actually a lot of stuff in there. Various leaflets and booklets, the original stuff on the car that came out at the time of the car was new. Lots of information there. Right, so we'll leave all of that in the car, and probably a few other things that I'll find in the meantime. You can see the car is still in excellent condition. There's no rust or anything here. Look at the bottom of that boot. This was painted in 2002 as I was informed. There's a sticker in the car that seems to verify that. And this has not been painted by me. I mean, this is exactly how it was when I bought it in 2004. So it's still in excellent condition. And hopefully in Ibiza it'll stay like that. That's a chrome cap on what is a stainless steel free flow exhaust. And the tyres, though they're possibly, I think they're about 5 years old, so that's not too bad, but they're in very good condition. No problem with that. Though I would, personally, I'd have radials now on them, because you can get radials with wide whites. I've changed the bulbs in the car recently. One of them had a new headlight bulb, but new 6-volt bulbs for the headlights, they're readily available on the internet. And that was the sticker that was in the car the last time it was registered or taxed or whatever in the States, before it went into storage. And these don't come with the car. These are a little optional extra. Obviously, these were called breezies, and they just, when you had the window open, they just deflected the wind a bit, stopped the breeze coming in the car. They were called breezies actually. They're very delicate though, they're plastic, so you should be careful of those. There's another one here that's just that's just the same thing. It's just been put there. And here we have the washers, obviously. Ah, that reminds me, one last thing I didn't say. That's the vent, the air vent, central air vent, which all these cars had at the time, which is down here, and it's very inconvenient. If I have to find it, ah, here it is. So, if you push it down to its middle position, it raises up like that, and you've got a gentle airflow coming in. Obviously the air's coming in at your feet. If you push it down all the way, which is the position you'd probably want in Ibiza, you get a full flow of air. So it actually is quite effective, because there's quite a lot of air coming in, fresh air, cool air, and as you're driving along actually it is quite cold, and it's coming in through to your feet. So on a hot day in Ibiza, that's going to be, that's what you're going to be doing. But in England, I shut it up. And I think a couple of years ago I put a new gasket in that. There is a gasket to stop the rain running down. But you can buy those new rubber gaskets on those. You can buy those pretty readily on the internet. So we'll pull that back. Right, that's in the closed position. And that is the little button that puts this light on, but this courtesy light only comes on when the ignition is on, I think. Have a look. No, actually it only comes on when the lights are on. No, it doesn't. Maybe it's that switch. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's a connection. Right, turn the ignition off. Yes, okay. Sorry for the confusion. The ignition is off. I'll take the key out, put it back in. The ignition's off. But that light is on, and that light is on. So these lights come on when this door, passenger door, is opened. And that, but there is obviously, yeah, it's this. The problem is the connection here. You can see if I pull it. So that needs some cleaning. I'd probably take this screw, clean this connection up, because that's what the problem is. It's going on and off if I actually pull it. Yeah, that just needs some attention. So these two lights come on when this door is open, whether or not the ignition is on or the lights are on. So I think that is all there is to say. The car does not use a lot of oil. I do check it regularly, but it does not use a lot of oil. The radiator does not, the water in the radiator does not go down, so everything seems to be pretty tight. The engine, as I say, has never been touched, and it certainly runs well, so I've left it as it is. Well, we've just had an oil change, an oil filter change. The oil in the filter, the air filter, is fairly clean. It hasn't had enough use, but you probably would change that more if you were in Ibiza, with the dust perhaps, and the I don't know, flies I guess and things, I don't know. And that's it. I can't think of anything else. I think that this car should look very nice driving around on the island of Ibiza.